Hello, Wisconsin high school track and field fans. My name is Chris Harriet. I am the boys track coach for Arrowhead High School and the director for the Myrhum Invite. We're going to make this video this year because we get a ton of questions this time of year about how the Myrhum Invite works. The Myrhum, if you are not aware, is run very differently than most track meets, at least most track meets in the state of Wisconsin. So because of that, we get lots of questions, and we wanted to address some of those here. Many of those questions, or all of these questions, are actually addressed in our meet info, but sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, and let's be honest, sometimes we don't all read through the meet info, and that's a long doc. I'm going to speak actually not just to coaches, but even to the athletes of Wisconsin. Many of them reach out to us via our social media, and even parents. Lots of parents have reached out to us about the Myrhum Invite, which is a little bit unusual, but we'll explain why that happens. So first and foremost, if you got to this particular video, you either got it from our meet info, which I'm going to link it at the very top, or maybe picked it up on some of our socials. If you happen to pick it up on the socials, go to athletic.net and go to the Myrhum Invite or PT timing, and you can find the info doc that will have all the information I'm talking about, because this is only a fraction of the stuff, but I'm going to try to make some of the things pretty simple. First and foremost, who is eligible? Well, eligibility for the Myrhum Invite would be any high school kid in the state of Wisconsin that is competing for their high school. There are various different reasons for that, but this is a celebration of Wisconsin track and field. We have gotten a lot of requests from people around the country, and especially people from Illinois, one of our closest neighbors, to see if they can come to this invite. And as of right now, we are not opening up the doors to other states just because we have to turn away our own kids in Wisconsin. And we don't love doing it. It's just we have to in order to make this meet run the way we want it to run. So we can't open those doors yet. Maybe sometime in the future, quite honestly, if it was up to me, this would be a 3-day meet, and I'd be there all day, all night, 3 days in a row, and we'd have everybody in the country. But right now, we don't have enough volunteers that would be interested in doing that yet. Maybe someday. But for right now, this is for Wisconsin kids. So parents, it's a common question. I get parents that reach out and they ask, us, hey, our team is not going to the Myrhum Invite. We would like to go and just bring our kid instead. And you can't do that. This is a high school event, so you have to go through your high school. We've even got some parents that were upset with us. Why would we require your high school to take you to this track meet? Well, your high school is supposed to take you to all track meets. So I would throw the question back and say, if you really want to come, you need to talk to those high school coaches and figure out, why it is they do not want to come. They may not understand that they can bring their single athlete. If you are the best 3,200-meter runner and you're way up north Wisconsin and you have zero competition where you're at, you should be at this meet. And your coach may not know that they can enter you in this meet, and it doesn't mean that they have to come and spend all day to bring you down here. It just means that they have to sanction it and say, yes, you represent your school as you come down here and compete at the Myrhum Invite. So yes, parents, it is possible to do it. If you do have coaches or administrators that don't really understand why this meet works the way it works, feel free to have them reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help explain on your behalf. I'm sure if they're not letting you, there may be some good reasons, or there may be some misunderstandings, but it is open to all Wisconsin high school kids, and that is the point of it. We want the best of the best here at Arrowhead High School for the Myrhum. So how do you qualify? Qualifying is relatively easy. You need to hit one of our qualifying standards. And it is important that we understand that our standards are not really hard. If you were from Illinois and you're looking at our standards, you'd be like, what are you talking about? Those are not difficult to hit at all. The point is that those standards are designed to give us the maximum heat size and field size in each event that we need. We take a look at the results from every year, and we come up with an idea, an average of what we think would be the ballpark number of kids that would fit into that realm. So when you get close to that standard, but you did not hit that standard, and you're thinking, well, it was, I'm close. The standard is, I don't know, it's 133 for the boys 4x2. It's not, I think might be easier than, I don't know. But let's say it is, it's 133.0, but we ran 133.5. Can we come? And the answer is maybe. But no, you're not going to officially be in. So you could definitely sign up. New for this year, our goal is to fill the lanes. So let's say you do not hit that mark. You are that relay team, that 133.5 again, or whatever it is. I don't have them in front of me right now, but let's say hypothetically you are. You can sign up for it and hope that after the cut line of that Monday, the week of the Myrhum, Monday at noon is when our entries are due. You could enter that team, and if it turns out that we do not have enough teams to fill all the heats, then we will drop in the next best teams. That is new for this year, and that will happen in every event. So if you are somebody that's right on that edge, you can absolutely do that. Now, is it perfect that you know that you'll be competing? Not exactly, and I get all those calls all the time. Can I get this kid? Can I get this kid? And we need to plan. And the answer is we can't necessarily tell you ahead of time because we want it to be open to the best available teams and kids in Wisconsin. And that is the only way to do it. And of course, that is the way that many other big time meets work. So you have to hit that predetermined time. Now, question that is very common to get, depending on the event, but let's say it's a 1600 kid. Hey, they ran 4:20 the mile last year, but we haven't been in the mile yet. He's coming off an injury. He's only done a 32, didn't have much of an indoor season. Can he get in? Yes, the times for this meet from last year do count. The thing that I would say, though, is that you should not be entering your state championship time if you've not hit it before. For example, our 4x2 last year ran 125.8 in the state finals. Could they run that fast this year? I don't know, maybe. But if they're not running that fast right now, that is not going to be their seed time. So if you haven't hit the time that is required yet this year, you don't necessarily put in that state championship time in perfect conditions. You would put maybe a guess on where you're going to run. And that's a message for coaches. Coaches, when you start to enter that information into athletic.net, if you are entering a seed that is coming from some other place other than athletic, it will be flagged, and of course it's going to be checked. If it has no information, so you've changed that seed, and there's no note in there of where the seed is coming from, you will be dropped from the meet. Again, and that is just to expedite this process. We go through dozens and dozens and dozens of entries to make sure this is a legit meet. There is nothing worse. We've all done it before when you've gone to a big time meet and you get to that fast heat and 5 of the kids in the fast heat do not belong there. That's our point. We want to make sure that if there's a fast heat at the Myrhum, those are all kids that deserve to be in that spot. And the way to do that is to make sure the information you're putting in is actually the information that your athlete has done this year. So if you do had to make an adjustment, let's say it's not in athletic.net, you've got a seed and it came from a meet that was on mile split. Perfect, that's fine. Change it, put that information in, but where it has the comment, drop in the link to that. I will personally, with my assistants, we will be going through and checking those. If there's a link, boom, we can get it. That's awesome. Makes our lives easier. If for some reason you're coming from, and we have had this before, you're somewhere up north and they are not using auto timing, they're using hand timing, and they have an old high-tech system, everything gets plugged into that, or whatever it is, just give us that information so we have something to go on, so we're not digging through tons of different websites looking for what's going on. But the bottom line is it has to be something that you have done, something you can prove. And again, those qualifying marks are not very lofty. Those are on the far end of getting into those heats of 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10. So they're not necessarily super difficult. If you're looking at, hey, they are super difficult and we don't qualify, that's okay. We have events on our team, which is pretty darn good, where kids will not be qualifying and will not be competing, and that's all right. This is meant to be a high-level meet, and that's why we have another meet for them to go to earlier in the week. Other than that, we also need to consider, for my high school coaches, contracts. Your contracts will be coming from our athletic department. So when you get the meet info information on there, explains everything about how contracts work. Now, it's another confusing part. If I'm coming and I'm only running the 100-meter dash, how does a contract work? Well, you look through that. We've got it broken down by number of athletes, and it's $40 for a person to come and compete by themselves, but they still have to have a contract through the school, and that's how we keep track of it. that becomes a liability thing, becomes all kinds of everything. But it's not difficult to do. You're just going to email our athletic department and say, hey, we wish to enter the Myrhum Invite, and we need to send a contract. And your school does that all the time. It's the same system we use for pretty much everything in Wisconsin, so that will work. Ask them, you'll get that sent over. Now, another question we get, well, what if we're filling out a contract but we don't end up making the cut? That's fine. You could fill out your contract before you ever pay to come to the Myrhum Invite. That's not a big deal. You can bring your check made out payable to Arrowhead High School on day of, especially if you're someone who might be on that cut line. That's fine. That's how it's designed. That's the goal of what we're doing. Now, other than that, we have a lot of different things going on at the Myrhum. We've got, fun things like selfie stations. We got multiple different ones. We want this to be a celebration of track and field for the state of Wisconsin. Like I said, we want the best of the best of D1, D2, and D3, which we will not see anywhere, even at the state meet. So come out, celebrate as much as possible. We'll have plenty of t-shirts, lots of food, and guaranteed the fastest times, best heights, distances in the state so far. Thanks for tuning in.